Hi, I am here with Taylor Birch. She is Master of Science in Psychology and has just finished the Resilient Transformation Academy. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be sharing this with other people because you had such an incredible transformation going through the Academy.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you were facing before you and I met and before you learned all the techniques in the academy. What were some of the challenges?
So I had so much anxiety, probably 10 out of 10 most days, which was not livable and not sustainable at all. I had trouble sleeping. I was having a lot of digestional issues and stuff like that. And so finding this program really helped me get out of that and at least helped me find ways to get out of those emotions and feeling anxiety all the time. So yeah.
Wow, a 10 out of 10 on the
Yeah.
anxiety scale. And, when we're feeling anxiety, this is just another symptom of stress, right? It's how stress
Yeah.
is being really brought about in our bodies. And so we
Hmm.
talk a lot about what happens when we're in anxiety. It affects our digestion, it affects our sleep. How, when you were 10 out of 10 on anxiety, how did that affect your life? Like, what was happening in your life?
I just remember being so angry all the time and just being so quick to jump to dramatic emotions or overreacting. And yeah, it affected me all the time because I was just so anxious and angry and I couldn't process my emotions correctly. So,
How
yeah.
did that affect your relationships in your personal life and at work when you were that angry?
Honestly, it didn't seem like they were being affected until after I went through the program. But ever since, like, I noticed that I was just always so hot and cold with people, and I never had like a real solid foundation of a relationship with them until after like started the program, and I realized that I was just being a little hot and cold all the time. So,
It's so
yeah,
hard to imagine that you were that way
I
because
know.
you seem so happy and calm and peaceful. And so going through that, I mean, affecting our relationships and also with what you do for a living, you work with clients. You want to share a little bit about that and how maybe that way of being in the past affected your ability to work with your clients?
Yeah, so I work with kids with autism. I'm a behavioral therapist moving to be a clinician, hopefully in the next couple weeks. But I mean, you have to be on your A game and you have to be present with them and you have to be just ready for all of the things that are going to happen during a session. And I just remember being angry with my clients. It's not even their fault, but I just would get so frustrated and it was so easy for me to get frustrated. That's something that I've noticed is a big shift from now and then. I'm less so to get frustrated, I guess. So,
Such a beautiful shift. And the way that you're describing this frustration, not being able to sleep, anxiety, 10 out of a 10. So, what was the true motivation of why you decided to do this program? What was behind all of that?
well, besides my dad going through the program and just seeing a big shift in him, I wanted to be happy. I just wanted to feel good and love myself and be ready for the next steps in my life because I hope to have kids one day and I want to be the best mom I can for them. So that was my biggest motivation was just being happy and wanting to be better for the people around me.
So nice too, because when you have your dad going through it and now you go through it, you have a similar language together.
Yes.
And you both have had just incredible transformations. So,
Yeah.
what did you try in the past before this to move past the anxiety and move past the sleepless nights and the digestive problems?
Yeah, so I mostly went to counseling for a long time, and that helped. It definitely worked through some issues, but it never stuck. And I would always like fall back into some old patterns. And then I tried some neurofeedback stuff, which was great for a little bit, but it just was so expensive and it was not sustainable either. As far as my health, I honestly hadn't tried anything. So that one, I think going through this program, I definitely learned to do stuff for myself and health wise, just figure life out. So, yeah.
So you did some things in the past, but it didn't stick.
Yeah.
So what was different about what you did in this program that gave you these incredible results that you got?
It taught me how to refocus when I'm feeling escalated. And that was, I think, the biggest piece that I've taken away from this program is when I am escalated, it's so hard to get myself back. And now I can just sit and relax and get back to where I need to be, and I can move on with my day. It's still obviously hard occasionally, but it's so much easier than it was. And this skill, honestly, is going to take me so far in life. So, yeah.
Well, and it's a skill that you can use anytime, anywhere, which is great about
Exactly.
it. Once you learn it, you can use it all the time, whenever you
Exactly.
choose. And it really starts to empower you versus depending on something outside of us. I
Hmm.
think a lot of traditional methods with anxiety and stress and sleeplessness are do this in order to have this. And it doesn't give
Yeah.
you the true power in the moment to do
Right.
what you need to do.
Yeah. I feel like therapy is great, but my counselor's not always around. So it's hard when when I'm in my own head and I need to get out of the emotion in that moment. And so yeah, that's been really helpful.
So we're going to talk about some of those amazing, incredible results that you have
Okay.
specifically. I wanted to ask you first, because this is very non-traditional. And was there any skeptical tries that when you first came in, we started working together, did you go, I'm not sure about that?
I wasn't 100% sure about the biofeedback um, part of it because I never saw results with the neurofeedback. So I wasn't sure about biofeedback and how that would affect me. But noticing my heart rhythm and my breathing rates, it made so much sense and it worked. It just did. And ever since then, I was like, okay, I guess this is it. This is the method I'm going to use.
I
So,
love it that it worked. You got the data right there. It's all backed by science
yeah.
and data.
Yes, and I love data. So that was beautiful for me to see like how I was changing and how my like heart rhythm was changing with my breathing and all that. So, yeah.
Well, you talk about the biofeedback and you've had these incredible changes and you just look peaceful and calm. What was the amount of time that you put in? Was it a lot of time that you did daily, weekly?
I would say the first week was probably the most time I spent, or I guess the 8 weeks of the actual training was like the most time I spent really learning all the material and getting used to all the words and the terms and all of that. But like throughout the week, it just became like kind of part of my routine. Like it was 20 minutes a day that I would just sit on the biofeedback and just breathe. And like it just became part of my morning routine. So it wasn't hard. And yeah.
What we hear a lot of people say is, why would I stop doing this? I feel so good. So I
Yeah.
love that you said it just became part of your routine.
Yeah.
And we talk about when people join the program that there's a baseline, and think about it like the temperature on a wall. Like you set the temperature at 70, and
Mhm.
then if it gets too hot, it goes up to 72. The AC kicks on, it goes down to 68, and then just
Yeah.
fluctuates to 2 to 4 degrees. When people usually come in to start working in this program, they can have a baseline of anxiety or a
Mhm.
baseline of frustration. And what it is, it's like if they get too happy, then they'll create something to have that anxiety come back because their bodies are used to it. They've
Mhm.
created this baseline. So, what I'm hearing you say is that this became part of your morning routine because you shifted your baseline.
Yeah.
What would you say if you were a 10 out of 10 with anxiety? What would you say your new baseline is?
Oh gosh. I mean, it's still probably a 4 out of 10 on like the really hard days, but like on a normal day, it's probably a 1 out of 10. I mean, anxiety is like a part of daily life sometimes, but it's dramatically decreased and I love it. So, Yeah.
Would you say that on those hard days and you just know like, oh my God, this is going to be a tough day. I know what I have ahead of me.
Mhm.
How quickly are you able to take control of that, knowing like, okay, this is what I have ahead? How do you shift out of that? Do you have control over that pretty quickly?
I feel like I have all of the control over my emotions now, which is all I've ever wanted. So I feel like I can switch out of being frustrated pretty quickly. I would say within like 10, 15 minutes of just like breathing, heart focused breathing, all of that. So yeah, I feel like I have full control over how I feel.
And how, if you got frustrated in the past, how long would that last? Would that last for hours, days, weeks, or?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it would last all day. Sometimes it lasted more like 2 or 3 days. So I was constantly frustrated or angry or anxious about something.
Did that affect your productivity?
Absolutely. I got not a lot done. That's for sure.
What have you noticed in terms of that? Have being able to shift and replace from anxiety or frustration to peace or calm, how has that made a difference in your work and your daily activities?
I just notice I get through stuff so much quicker. Like I can focus on it and I can concentrate and absorb all the information or do whatever I need to do and it is so much faster. Like it would usually take me 2 to 3 hours to do like a treatment plan and it took me maybe 30 minutes or 45 to do a whole thing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. It's so incredible because I remember at the beginning you had said, one of my goals is to have a feeling of freedom doing things I choose to do, not because I have to do them. So when
Yes.
you talk about treatment plans, did you make different choices when maybe you didn't want to do something in the past? How did you move past that?
I mean, there was obviously stuff I didn't want to do because I was in a program and I kind of had to do some stuff, but it made me focus on the outcome more than like the actual task that we were doing. So I was a lot more outcome based rather than, well, this just sucks. This is hard and I don't like this.
Yeah.
And I know it was all for something. So,
Well, it's interesting that you say that, just shifting the attention or the thoughts to the outcome, because
mhm,
I remember another one of your goals was to be able to change your thoughts and not live in that negative self-talk,
mhm,
and be able to, like, if you say there's a task that I just don't choose to do this right now, what I'm hearing you say is you now have that ability to shift that to be outcome driven and then shift your relationship to that task.
absolutely. Yeah, I think before I would always get frustrated if I was handed a task I didn't want to do. And now I take it as this is a learning lesson. This is something that will grow me. And it might be a hard 30 minutes, but I got this and I can get through it. So,
It's our self-talk is so important, isn't it?
yes,
It's
yeah. So,
it sounds like you might have a completely different relationship with yourself now.
yes, I felt like before this, I didn't love myself. I didn't know who I was. And now I have such a better idea, at least. I have a better blueprint to go off of like who I am and what I like and how I feel and how I want to feel. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, you also had some pretty amazing life changes happen to you the time that we were together.
Yeah. The 6 months have been crazy. That's for sure.
So I remember one of the big ones, actually, would you like to just say what those, I can think of three main ones that happened for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So I got engaged in April. And then quickly after that, I moved into my new place. So with my husband or fiance, he's not my husband yet, but I moved in with my fiance to our new place, and we've been living here for like 3 or 4 months now. And then I got a new job and just quit my old job, and that's like probably the biggest and newest thing for me. So
Wow.
yeah.
So amazing. And do you feel that because you were able to shift your internal dialogue, shift how you reacted to things, that it had an impact in making all those wonderful life changes happen?
Yeah, I feel like I was just so positive about the things that were going to come. Like I knew they were happening, and I was just focusing on um, like making those things happen for me. And then when they did, I was just overjoyed and so excited about life again. And that gave me like more motivation to keep going and keep thinking the same things. And yeah, it just kind of felt like manifestation. Like everything just kind of happened and fell into place, and it was honestly perfect. So yeah.
Really beautiful to watch your transformation. And so much of what we think and feel inside, there's a perspective that comes from something happens in your life, and you see the filter through how you're thinking and feeling.
Mhm.
So one thing can happen, but if you're upset and angry, you see it through that filter. If you're happy and joyful, not only do you see it through that happy, joyful filter, your experience is different, which
Mhm.
changes things that are happening around you. And so
Right.
what I'm hearing you say is at the beginning, you're 10 out of 10 on anxiety, digestive problems, hoping to get engaged. Remember,
Mhm.
the family was kind of waiting for that. And
Yep.
then that happened. And then I remember the stress that you were feeling of finding a place to move
Mhm.
into. And that seemed to fall in place.
Yeah.
So I just remember how easy that ended up happening for you.
Mhm.
And then finding the job. And what was really, really neat about the job is I remember going through a detailed list of what's your outcome for your new job.
Mhm.
Let's get specific. Let's use the tools that you learned inside the academy to bring in that specificity. And then all those thoughts that maybe were like, I can't do that. It won't happen. I'm worried about it. Am I really good enough to have that? Do I have an imposter syndrome? All of that, we just move that to the side, and you got very clear, total clarity. This is what I choose. This is even the radius of where it was around your house. I choose to not travel more than this radius. I
Yeah.
choose to work with these kind of people. So of all the things that you were choosing to have in your new job, what percent of those did you create with this new offer for your job?
Oh man, this job's amazing. I would say I created like 90% of everything I wanted in a job. So that was, I think that was like the biggest reinforcement for me, was just like, this is real. This is happening. I was very specific about what I wanted, and it all landed here, like right in front of me. And I worked hard to get there, but it all just came to me and it was crazy. So yeah.
Well, this gives you, like you said, I know myself better. You trust yourself better. You love yourself more. When we use these tools to create the way that you have created, we build that confidence and that trust.
Mhm.
And then we realize, wow, the power of my word is got to be impeccable, because what I say, I believe. And then that gives you more power to move forward in your life and be the leader that you are.
Yeah. It's been
So
awesome.
wow, it's such a pleasure to work with you. You
Thank
showed
you.
up committed, you showed up resourceful, and you showed up coachable,
Thank
and
you.
you did the work, and you worked diligently at it, and you just blossomed. To
Thank
work with
you.
you and just see your progression and see how your life has transformed has just been such a pleasure. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much.
showing up and doing the work. And now you have the tools for the rest of your life.
I know this has been like my favorite program I've ever gone through. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Julie, just for everything. And thanks, Dad, for, hooking us up.
Yeah,
So
thanks, Dad.
yeah. But this has just been the most beautiful experience for me. I have changed so much in 6 months, and I never thought that would happen. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
so appreciative of you. So
Well, right back at you. I'm so appreciative of you. Thank you for doing the work and showing up. And
yes, of course.
now you get to go be a light in the world and shine bright and take this beautiful transformation that you've had and share it with others.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Congratulations on all your
Thank
success.
you. Thanks.